Uh, Good morning. Today is March 23rd, 2022. Time is 8:32 a.m. The committee on parole is convened. Today's vote location is Rayburn Correctional Center in Angie, Louisiana. With the staff at Rayburn introduce yourself.
Deputy Warden Keith Bickham.
Carolyn Thomas, Record Supervisor.
Daisy Gerald, classification.
Thank you, Warden Vic. Thank you, Warden Vic. We are located at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. With the staff at headquarters, please introduce yourself.
Teresa Bohowick,
Frank Clark.
Leah Roden.
Thank you, staff. With the offender, please introduce yourself and give your full name and your Department of Corrections ID.
Leonard Bradley, 2022-52.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. My name is Albert Roche. Other members of the panel are Ms. Cheryl Renaza to my left and Ms. Bonnie Jackson to my right.
Good morning.
Let me explain the process to you. We will be conducting a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we'll ask Warden Bickham to have input if he wishes. Then we'll read some, you can't hear?
Yes, it's a little low. I can hear you.
We're trying to adjust the
We're
volume.
working on the volume now.
Okay. We'll ask Warden Bickham for input at the appropriate time if he wishes. And then we'll have your supporters. We have 3 supporters that want to speak this morning. And then we'll give the opposition a chance to make a statement. Then we'll read, before that, we'll read some information into the record. Do you understand the process? You understand the process?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm getting the impression that you can't hear me.
We're gonna move him up a little closer.
Warden Bickham, can you hear me?
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
I
you.
need,
We can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Bradley, do you want me, Mr. Bradley, do you want me to repeat the process?
yes, sir.
Mr. Bradley, we'll conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, Warden Bickham will have input if he wishes. Then we'll let your supporters speak. Then we'll let the opposition speak. Then before we vote, we will allow you to make a statement on your behalf, and then we will vote.
Yes, sir.
You understand the process?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bradley, you are a 3rd felony offender. Your offenses are 3 counts of forcible rape. You were sentenced on May 19, 2003. You were sentenced to 40 years each count, and that was to run consecutively, but you were later re-sentenced to 1 count at 40 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your parole date was January 31st, 2022. You're not eligible for good time, and your full term date is February 3rd, 2042. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Before we start with the interview, I'd like to acknowledge your guests speaking in support is Miss Deidre Young, a friend. Pastor Donnie Pezon, your pastor, and your sister, Cheryl Bradley. Speaking in opposition is Mr. Randy Meyer from the Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office. At the appropriate time, we will recognize all speakers. Mr. Bradley, your case has been assigned to me, so I'm going to start with the questioning. How old are you, Mr. Bradley?
55.
55 years old. And you've been incarcerated how long?
20 years.
So you've served right at 50% of your sentence, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're a third felony offender, and programs that you completed your sex offender treatment, but only the first 3 phases. Why did you complete phase 4 of the sex offender treatment?
Oh, because of my job, was working in the kitchen, and I had to give more time to the kitchen to help out with the kitchen.
Mr. Bradley, as far as I'm concerned, that's not a good reason for not completing your sex offender treatment.
Right. Well,
I think the 4th phase, where you're a facility and you get a chance to regurgitate all the information that you've learned and share with others, reinforces that information as far as you're concerned.
yes, sir.
I think phase 4 is a very important part of that sex offender treatment. Any other programs that you completed? I see you've completed 100 hours pre-release, living in balance, and victims affected by the world. Tell me about victims affected by the world. What did you get from that victim awareness class?
Well, that class there opened up my eyes upon a lot of stuff that I didn't really know. And, it showed me that not only did I hurt that person, I hurted the whole family. And that wasn't right at all. So it made me see the whole outcome of my crime. And I really was remorseful because I didn't know that it had that much effect on the whole family like that. I really didn't. And it kind of made me understand that, it just didn't affect me or that person. It affected the whole family.
Matter of fact, Mr. Bradley, it affected your family also. Your family, your sister Cheryl is a victim. Your
Yes, sir.
parents, everyone is a victim of your crime.
Right.
These people have been incarcerated for 24 years with you.
That's right. And now I knowing that, taking that class made me see those things.
Now, any other classes that you completed that you would like to mention?
Anger management, it showed me that instead of reacting, I need to think before I, react on anything. And, it showed me that I know I'm a better person, but I have to think before I react on anything.
When did you take anger management?
Excuse me?
When did you complete anger management?
When did I complete it?
Yes.
I completed it December. December I can't exactly remember the date.
Number 21. 2021?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. What is your job at the facility?
I work in the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen. I'm a clerk a cook,
What do you do in the kitchen, sir?
Whatever's needed in the kitchen. Mainly I make the juice and I clean up around the cafeteria.
So your permanent job is working in the kitchen.
Yes, sir, I prep.
And we're gonna get back to that just a little bit later. I just want to emphasize that you do work in the kitchen. And basically, how long have you worked in the kitchen?
12 years.
12 years.
As
Okay,
long as I've been here,
okay.
I'm about to pass out.
Just to inform you, Mr. Bradley, you have opposition. Everything okay, Mr. Bradley?
Excuse me?
He's getting kind of nervous on us.
Oh, man, I got, he said,
Take a deep breath, Mr. Bradley.
Time. All right.
The mention of the kitchen brought up some information that we're gonna cover later on. Okay, Mr. Bradley, you can't do anything about this, but you have very strong law enforcement opposition, and the assistant district attorney from Jefferson Parish, Mr. Randy Meyer, is here, and he will give his statement later on in this hearing. Your third felony offender, you have 14 arrests on your rap sheet. Crimes such as theft, multiple drug arrests, multiple battery arrests, aggravated burglary, weapons charges. So there is some violence in your history. What was the source of the violence that you displayed in your arrest record?
yeah, I'm so dizzy right now. I can't even hardly think about nothing. I'm so nervous.
Mr. Roche, we're gonna get somebody from medical to check him. Y'all may wanna move over to the next guy here. He's getting a little weak on it.
Yeah, I think we need to check his blood pressure and a couple of other things.
Right, right. Turn to him, Vernon. Chill out.
I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you for asking. First, I would like to apologize for that moment and thank you guys for your patience with me as well.
No need to apologize. Everyone, it's weak and no need. This is a very difficult point in your life. And
Yes, sir.
you got over emotional, overexcited, and you had an anxiety attack, you had a panic attack. And that's perfectly understandable. No apology this, okay?
Yes, sir.
And I think we were talking about, you couldn't do anything about opposition. You have law enforcement opposition. You have opposition from the Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office. Mr. Randy Meyer, Assistant District Attorney in Jefferson Parish, will make a statement. We're going to talk about your risk assessment. You have a low risk assessment. You have a low static 99, and that's a risk assessment for sex offenders. And you have a moderate needs assessment. Before we talk about anything else, let's talk a little bit about the offense itself. My report says that we had inappropriate behavior with 2 or 3 of your stepdaughters. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And this occurred over a period of at least 3 to 5 years, maybe longer. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you would bribe and threaten your stepdaughters with money and threats of beating them if they told anyone. That's not right?
I don't know.
But my report says that you gave them money on occasions, and that if they would report this to anyone, you would beat them.
Oh, no, I never said anything like that. I will give them.
Sir, I'm only telling you what's in my documentation.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
At the point that they reported this to Shalita Bradley, their mother,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. That's their mother.
you are asked to leave the house. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you still try to contact her daughters even after you left the house.
No, sir.
Now, I'm only getting my information from what was in the police report and conversations with Shalita Bradley.
Okay.
Okay? Now, why does a man have relationships with his wife's daughters at any age? And I think all 3 of these victims were under 12 or 13 years old. Why does a man do that?
He could not be in his right mind at all. And I can't even begin to understand what was wrong with me, but I was so wrong for that. And if I could take any of that back, God knows I would. But for someone to do that, they have to be really messed up. But I thank God for this incarceration, because I'm no longer that person at all. But
What did you find out about yourself in the first 3 phases of sex offender treatment?
well, I learned that I had a problem, and I was able to identify it after a while, because for me to even much think about doing anything like that, I know I wasn't in my right mind. But after I took that class, I understood that I had a problem, and a serious problem.
Now, completed the 3rd phase of sex offenders sometime around 2010, 2011, 2012. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And you had an opportunity to take the 4th phase, but you thought the work in the kitchen was more important than finishing sex offender treatment. Is that correct?
Well, what happened was I would go in to facilitate, periodically. And once I finished the 4 phases, I was in school and I was working, but I would go in there from time to time to facilitate. But I wish I would have just stayed in that class, because I know I could have made a difference in somebody else's life too, you know. But
Mr. Bradley, I think you should have stayed in too,
yes, sir.
because between the years 2017 and 2019, you had 9 Class B disciplinary write-ups. 2 of those write-ups were for aggravated sex offense. A 21E and a 21F. Also, in 2016, you had another 21E. You also had a 30C and a 30W. Prohibited behavior. What was a 30C for, Mr. Bradley?
The 30C was for me participating in something sexual.
I thought so.
Yes, sir. And after all that happened, I understood that the class that I was taking, that sexual class, it was good for me. And I wish I would have stayed in there and facilitated, because not only would
Bradley, you said after you finished sex offender treatment in 2010, you understood.
excuse me?
Early on in this interview, you said you really understood what you did and what effects it had after you finished sex offender treatment. But then you go on in 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019, aggravated sex offenses.
Right. I believe that I wasn't fully equipped to just understand what I was doing to myself, and it was wrong. But I'm no longer that person. I don't even think about stuff like that anymore, because
Mr. Bradley, I'm also concerned about your interview with a mental health specialist on the statements that you made, and Ms. Jackson will get into that part of the interview later on. And that interview was done, I think, maybe in 2021, 22. So it was done this year. And there's some disturbing statements that you made during that interview. But Ms. Jackson will cover that later on in this interview.
okay.
Ms. Bradley, you also had an intoxication right up between 2017 and 2019. What was that about?
Well, that was a different medication that they had just put me on. They had came to find out that it wasn't an intoxication. It was just, they had changed my medicine. And I had a bad reaction to it, and I passed out.
Okay, but you did get a write-up.
Yes, sir, they did roll me up, but they did roll me up for it.
Were you found guilty?
Yes, sir, I was found guilty.
You've had 35 plus write-ups and over 20 years in incarceration. And your write-ups are very serious. You've had sex offenses before 2016. And then you had one in 2016 and two or three, 2017, 2018, 2019. I don't think your sex offender treatment is enough. I think you need to revisit sex offender treatment, especially you need to complete phase 4. Because you still have a problem. And that problem manifests itself in your write-ups for aggravated sex offenses. Now, Mr. Bradley, tell the panel this morning why you think we should vote to release you early with 20 years left on which originally was an aggravated rape offense and amended charges that you pled guilty to 3 counts of forcible rape reduced to 1 count. Why should we vote for you early with 20 years left on your sentence and you have committed multiple aggravated sex offenses since completing the first 3 phases of your sex offender treatment?
Well, if you would have asked me that a couple of years ago, I would say I'm not ready for that, but I'm a different person now. And I respect women and myself now than I ever did. And I know for a fact that I see things different than I ever did, and it's been years now since I even thought about that. So I don't even think like I used to think when that was taking place at all.
Thank you, sir. Warden Baker, would you like to make any comments, remarks, observations at this time?
Yes, sir. We did go back and look. I know substance abuse was an issue. He was in the AA class prior to COVID. We verified that. Outside of that, y'all covered pretty much everything else.
Thank you, Warden Baker. Ms. Jackson?
Good morning, Mr. Bradley. My name is Bonnie Jackson. I have a few questions for you, so please relax. I just want some information. I see that you have a prior conviction for carnal knowledge of a juvenile.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that conviction was from 1994. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was the juvenile in that case?
Oh, Lisa was 14. 13.
And how old were you?
I was 28, 30, about 30.
Right.
20.
So there was a big age gap between you and I think you referred to her as Lisa. Not like you were 17 and she was, 15. You were a full grown man and you engaged in sexual intercourse with a 15-year-old, 14-year-old. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then fast forwarding, in this particular case, there were 3 victims, not just the one that you discussed when the sex offender panel interviewed you. There were 3 victims, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And they were all really little girls when this started, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, they should have been playing with dolls and toys and not having sexual intercourse with a grown man.
So true. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, you said that after taking victim awareness, you understood the harm you caused. Would you have this board believe that it took taking victim awareness to know, for you to know that you were destroying these babies' lives by having sexual intercourse with them?
No, ma'am, I'm not saying that I didn't understand. I'm saying that I had a problem then for as understanding that.
Why? Why would you have a problem at, you were what, maybe 34, 35 when you were having sex with these babies?
Well, when I was young, I'm not saying that is why, but I was molested as well. And I don't have an excuse for what I did because, like I said, I did do that and I was wrong. And no, I was wrong. I was really wrong, but I can't understand even why it even happened, really.
Well, let's just, right now, tell me how you feel. How do you think what you did to these little girls is affecting them even today?
Oh, man, I cried.
Affecting them. How do you think they are affected on a day-to-day basis by having been molested by their stepfather?
Right. That was so wrong. And I believe that mentally they would never understand why and probably won't trust anyone. And that's my fault. And I fully understand that it was wrong and these little girls didn't deserve that at all. And yeah, I'm sure that I messed them up mentally, and God knows that that was wrong. And man, I think about that sometimes when they're older now and they have kids, and I'll be thinking sometimes since I was eligible for parole, it made me think about them even more and what they went through, and it's my fault. And I know they probably would never be the same. I know that, and man, I was so wrong for that, and I messed them up probably for life.
I'm glad to hear you owning responsibility today. Because one of the things that concerned me and still concerns me greatly is that in February of this year, you were interviewed by the Sex Offender Assessment Panel. You remember around February 8th, speaking to a social worker or speaking to someone who was doing an assessment to determine whether you were a sexual predator.
Yes, ma'am.
You interview and they say that it was by Miss Adrienne Seals.
Yes,
He was
ma'am.
a worker, and that occurred on February 8th of 2022. And this is how you reported to that interviewer what happened. He reports that the victim was his 16-year-old stepdaughter. Now, you didn't indicate that she might have been 16 years old at the time you got arrested, but you started molesting her when she was about 8 years old. You didn't include that in your statement of facts, nor did you indicate that there were two other little girls that you were having sex with in that household. Now, I understand that you only have one count now, but the reality is that there were three little girls and you were on a regular basis having sexual intercourse with little girls. And you said that you and the victim had kissed after you were loaded on crack cocaine. These are your words. This is what you told Miss Seals. This is what she wrote down in her interview. Offender states that the victim and him had kissed after he was loaded on crack cocaine. Offender reports that the mother of his stepdaughter lied and said that he had raped her daughter. He feels like she was mad that she found out that you were cheating on him and wanted revenge. So could you explain to this panel why you would make those statements to Ms. Seals as recently as last month, telling her that all you did was kiss a 16-year-old, that the mom lied and said that you had raped her children, her daughter rather, because you didn't even mention the other two, because she was mad that she found out you were cheating on her. Tell us why you would make that statement. If you've grown so much, you've learned so much, you've accepted responsibility for your actions, why then would you make those statements that I just referred to?
Honestly, I don't even recall saying that she was 16, and I don't even recall saying that anything about the mother. I really don't.
Where do you think Miss Seals doesn't know you? She doesn't know anything about the circumstances of this case except what she had in police reports. So are you suggesting that Miss Seals just made up the fact that you told her that the mother of your stepdaughter lied and said that you had raped her daughter and that you feel like she was mad that she found out that you were cheating on him and wanted revenge? Do you think Miss Seals would just pull that out of thin air?
Well,
Written down to her.
I never, I can't remember saying that those things. I really cannot remember saying that her mother was mad at me for cheating on her, because I never cheated on her.
Well, first off, that's not what I said. I said, you said she lied and said that you raped her daughter. Period. Let's stop right there. You told Ms. Seals that your ex-wife had lied and said that you had raped her daughter. Did you make that statement to Ms. Seals?
I didn't make that statement that her mom lied on. I can't remember saying that. I really can't remember saying that, because that's not even true.
Well, again, my question is, I don't know whether it's true or not. If you would have sex with her 3 daughters, you would cheat on her too. But the point is, in February of 2008, when you had the opportunity to talk about this crime, what you was say that you just kissed a 16-year-old and her mom was mad because you were cheating on her, and so she lied and said that you had raped her daughters because she wanted revenge. That was the statement that we have from Ms. Seals.
Okay. That didn't even happen with her daughter, with my wife, me saying that she was mad at me. I can't remember saying those things at all. But if it's on the record and that's what she said, then that's what you see on there. But that didn't happen like that at all.
You didn't make those statements to Ms. Seals.
Not like that. I didn't say anything about cheating on my wife, and that was why I kissed her and that stuff. I don't recall saying any of that, ma'am.
Well, again, all I can do, Mr. Bradley, is go on the record.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a report signed by Ms. Adrian Seal, a social worker, dated February 8th of 2022 at Rayburn Correctional Center. And that is the information that she said was received when they conducted an examination in the mental health department. And so I can only go on what she said, and I have no reason whatsoever to believe that Ms. Seals has any reason to fabricate or to make up thing. I have no reason to believe that she did anything other than write down what you said to her. And so it's very concerning to me that
ma'am.
even as recently as 2 months ago, you were still downplaying the seriousness of this crime and failing to take full responsibility for having raped 3 little girls. I'm sorry. I'm really struggling to get past that. And I want you to know that.
I understand, and I do remember that meeting we had, me and her.
Hmm?
I do remember that meeting that me and her had, but I don't remember, I can't recall saying those things at all.
And all I can go on is what she wrote down in her assessment. And I have no reason to believe that she was not truthful and accurate in what she wrote down. All right?
And I respect that.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Bell. That's fine.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Bradley,
sir.
I'm going to take a point of personal privilege. I'm going to share a little wisdom that was shared with me when I was a very small tot, 5, 6 years old, from Elsie Roche, my mother. He says, Alvin, always tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you can tell it 100 times and you can tell it the same way. But when you lie about something, you can never tell it the same way twice.
Right. I didn't.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just want to share that wisdom with you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for that.
At this time, there's no further questions. We'd like to hear from, first of all, we'd like to hear from your sister, Ms. Cheryl Bradley. Ms. Bradley, would you unmute your mic? And you have about 3 minutes to make a statement.
Dear honorable members of the board, the parole board, my name is Cheryl Bradley. I'm Leonard's sister, whom he will be living with if granted parole. My heart goes out to his victim and their family, but how to move forward from this horrible situation is to be the support my brother needs and help him move forward constantly and spiritually rehabilitation. Sincerely, Cheryl. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Bradley. We appreciate your presence this morning and the support of your brother. We'd like to hear from Reverend Donnie Faison. Reverend?
Yes, how you doing? I thank God for this opportunity to speak on his behalf. I just pray, what you said about the wisdom part. I just pray that that he be honest. I pray that y'all grant him opportunity to come back into society. Um, I just pray for that for him, that he get closer to God. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Reverend. At this time, we'd like to hear from a friend, Ms. Deidre Young.
Dear honorable members of the parole board, my name is Deidre Young, and I'm writing this letter to express support for Leonard Bradley, who's eligible for parole on today. I've known him over 40 years. He will have my full support if granted parole. In his last 12 years of incarceration, we rekindled our friendship through in-person contact visits, emailing letters, and phone calls. I invested time in Leonard because he stated to me he repeatedly wanted to give up and didn't deserve to live. But I assured him that second chances do exist. He has acknowledged to me his horrible crime he committed and is sincerely remorseful about the pain and suffering it's brought to his victim's life and his family's. I encouraged him the only way to get past this is through continuous prayers for his victims. If released, Leonard already has a support system transitioned in society. He has a place to reside, a guaranteed job position with American Safety based out of Belle Chase, Louisiana. On his behalf, I have also reached out to the First 72 Plus program, which is a nonprofit organization that assists released inmates with their reentry into society by providing them with therapy, transportation, clothing, and community acceptance if needed upon request. Leonard will also be in spiritual fellowship constantly with his pastor at Greater Destiny Outreach. His family is also pleading for his release so they can assist him mentally and physically. And in conclusion, incarceration has redefined Leonard. He has promised himself, me, and his family he has no desire to reoffend, knowing he cannot identify with the person he was back in 2002 when committing these crimes while on drugs. He just wants another chance to redeem himself. And based on the relationship and bond we've constructed over the past 12 years, I'm strongly convinced with the resources he have in place, he will make a positive impact in society. And that's with the help of family, supporters, friends, parishioners, etc. Sincerely, Deidre.
Thank you, Ms. Young. Thank you to all the supporters. At this time, we'd like to hear from Assistant District Attorney from Jefferson Parish, Mr. Randy Mott.
Good morning, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA Jefferson Parish, and we are very strongly opposed to Mr. Bradley's request for parole. Importantly, he has only taken 3 of the 4 sex offender treatment classes. And it's been roughly 8 years since he did the 3rd phase and has not completed the 4th phase. And between 1994 and 2019, he has continued to commit sex offenses. After that last phase of treatment, he's had sex offenses as reflected in his disciplinary reports and his testimony today, 2016, 2017, 2019, and actually 2 of them in 2019, it appears. His disciplinary record also appears to be, pretty poor. The record shows on page 32 that I'm not sure when this is, it's confusing to me, but on page 32 of the record, which is the note on his parole eligibility, it says he was removed DT because of a disciplinary report. And the date of that parole eligibility note was August of 21. He was also removed from literacy training because of a disciplinary report in around 2019, and that's from page 40 on the progress report. It shows that. So, clearly he's not sufficiently rehabilitated. He's not been truthful to this board today. I think as shown by his answers to some of the questions y'all have asked, he wasn't truthful in his sex offender assessment report in 2022. So for those reasons, and also the prior sex offense that he had in 94, we are strongly opposed to his request.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Mr. Bradley, would you like a closing statement?
Well, I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity. And I plan to do better. And hopefully, with the strength of my family and God's wisdom, I'll be a better person and sooner than later. Thank you for your time.
You know, Mr. Bradley, is the panel ready to vote? Mr. Bradley, I'm going to vote first because your case was assigned to me. Mr. Bradley, based upon the 4 disciplinary record, multiple aggravated sex offenses, after the first 3 phases of your sex offender treatment, you have a high needs assessment, and you need additional programs. You have opposition from the district attorney's office and also opposition from law enforcement. For these reasons, I'm going to deny your request this morning. Mrs. Renazzi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bradley, I am pleased to see that you do have some support here today who have spoken on your behalf. However, you know, I still think you have some work to do. And I think you understand that based on our conversation. So based on your conduct history, particularly the sex offenses which are concerning to me, you have a high needs assessment. My vote today is to deny. So take some more classes, complete the sex offender treatment, stay right up free, reapply when you're eligible to do so. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Renazzi. Ms. Jackson.
All right, Mr. Bradley, I've already expressed my concerns to you. So you pretty much know what my vote is, but I do think that there will come a time in the future where you might get a different outcome, but you've got a lot to do to work on yourself. And it starts with being honest with yourself so that you can be honest with others. It troubled me that you made those statements to the social worker, and it troubled me that you continue to get write-ups for sex offenses. So that tells me that there's some more work that you need to do. I hope you'll commit yourself to doing that work. I hope you will commit yourself not to get any other write-ups, that you will have another opportunity. And when you come back, maybe the outcome will be different, but today, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready. So my vote today, for the same reasons as my panel members, is deny your request today. Encourage you to keep working on yourself and reapply when you're out. So good luck to you, Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Bradley.
Sir.
You know exactly why you got the decision you got today. So you need to go back and do a reevaluation of yourself. You need to think about what you did, the effects of what you did, and you need to remember the little wisdom I departed. It's always good to tell the truth, exactly the way it happened. I'm talking, Mr. Bradley. I'm only trying to give you some motivation so you can go back and reevaluate yourself. So next time you are eligible for parole, you know exactly what to do. We know most of the answers already. Before we start this hearing, we want to know how you will respond to the questions. When you respond in a truthful manner, it shows that you have started and maybe completed your rehabilitation. Because the first part of rehabilitation is to take full responsibility for your actions and tell the panel exactly what happened, and you'll be okay next time. Take the programs, complete the sex offender treatment, stay disciplinary free, and maybe next time you'll have a different outcome. Today's outcome, you have received 3 votes to deny your request. Your request has been denied. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Warden Bickham,
Yes, sir.
that completes our business at the Red Barn Correctional Center and